Alright, welcome to this shameless self-promotion video, announcement video for the upcoming 7-player free-for-all game in Dominions 4. That's going to be hosted on a variety of channels. The players, first of all, are myself, Daz Tactic, Marcus Aurelius, Sabouts, Dwarf Comic, Tortuga Power, and Battle Moose. So I'll provide links to their channels in the description and also try to include them in the video itself in case you're watching on a mobile device. The purpose of this video is to create hype, to introduce the game settings that are going to be coming up and to just show briefly the factions we'll all be playing, etc. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. We will be playing on a map called Parganos, which I've played on my channel before. It's one that I like, and I think it fits for 7 players pretty well. We've picked this map because it's a wraparound map, first of all. There's another version that is not a wraparound. The players will have 7 players, so we'll have a bit of room. It's recommended for 6 to 10. I personally like this map because it has plenty of mountain ranges that are arranged in an interesting way that you have to actually think about, and it has plenty of river crossings as well, so heat scale, whether it's cold or warm, will be relevant. There were a few other maps I looked at, but some of them didn't have any river crossings at all, and the mountains weren't as obtrusive either, so we're going to go with this one because it should make things interesting. So okay, and 7-player free-for-all. We are going to be playing in the Middle Ages. So the idea here is that we are going to be playing sort of a thematic sequel to the previous game. It would have actually been kind of interesting, and if we'd had time, or if I'd had time and skills, I might have tried to make a larger map based on Phantomia, our original map, changing around some of the links and everything so that it would accommodate 7 players. And that would have been pretty cool. But Parganos is a good map, so we'll just say that after the Cataclysm, the world has changed to look like Parganos now. And anyway, so the nations we're going to be playing so far, now I should add the caveat at this stage that everything is still subject to change. We will be closing in on our start date. You should probably see maybe Pretender creation videos coming out February 14th, I want to say, February 15th. And then we will be playing at that point. We are going to keep our rule that we won't be releasing videos until 5 turns in advance, but we may kind of relax on that rule because we're going to be playing at a slower pace than last time just to accommodate everybody. And statistically speaking, we are only going up from 4 players to 7 players this time, but every time you introduce a new player into the game, you increase the odds that any given week somebody's going to have some real-life circumstance that is going to slow down the game because they need to attend to it, or they won't be able to play their turns as rapidly in the mid-game, or in the middle of the week. And all of us have jobs and real-life commitments, so yeah, we just want to have a little bit better game, even if it's a little bit slower paced, but that should give time. There's going to be 7 of us, so each time we play a turn, there's going to be 7 videos, so yeah, I'm hoping that it'll make for good viewing and it'll be entertaining for everybody to watch. And anyway, the nations we're going to be playing is, first of all, Sabouts is going to be playing Ermor. And let's see, Daz Tactic is going to be playing Man. Let's see, Battle Moose is going to be playing Ulm. And Marcus Aurelius is going to be playing Agartha. And Dwarf Comic is going to be playing Asphodel. I am going to be playing Vanheim. And finally, Tortuga Power is settling in on Shinuyama. And so, as you can see, for Sabouts, he is carrying on the legacy from the previous game of playing Ermor. Daz is carrying on the legacy of the Merverni and playing Man. Let's see, DC has switched up a little bit, and he's carrying on the legacy of Pangea and devolving into Asphodel. And I, as well, am going to carry on the legacy of Helheim, although, like Dwarf Comic, I'm switching a little bit since Helheim is basically extinct, and I'm playing their cousins, the Vanir, as they become Vanheim. So then Marcus Aurelius is bringing it in with Argartha to switch things up, and then Battle Moose is bringing in Ulm, which is going to be kind of cousins to the Tower of the Tower of Avalon. And then out of nowhere, Shuniyama from the east is coming in to mess things up. So as you can see already, this is going to be an unusual game at a glance. Ermor and Asphodel are going to be, I think, natural allies because their Dominion influence is not going to interfere with each other, whereas it's going to, frankly, bug the hell out of the rest of us. Shuniyama, I don't know. It's really going to depend on Tortuga Power's Pretender creation, I think. And anyway, if you have, suggestions or want to offer advice, just be polite if you address the other guys. So, like I said, they may change their mind. I know Tortuga Power is, I think, picking Shuniyama because he's just interested in it. And I think same thing with Sabouts, really, I think, likes the idea of Ermor, but we are not power gamers. So yeah, these choices may not be like, oh, that's not the strongest faction for the game, but we're doing this for fun, and hopefully, that will still also make this playthrough different from some of the others you might see online. Anyway, let's just go ahead and go to the next step. So yeah, they're just showing us Ermor by default, and yeah, here, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, this is their Dominion reanimates the dead and kills population. This is a unique effect that makes Ermor a problematic nation when you play in most multiplayer games. And most multiplayer games, the diplomacy is limited to in-game, or sometimes there's no diplomacy at all. However, we are going to be having active diplomacy. We have a Google group that we'll be talking on. Initially, most of our diplomacy will probably be limited to in-game messages. That's how I'll plan to communicate. But once alliances and, things like that start, we're going to have to talk to each other directly. Now, we will tell you, the viewers, what's going on, but we also have a rule that we will not be sharing screenshots of the game, and I believe that's going to carry over to email correspondence as well. So, although I'm sure that the players will be perfectly honest with you, the viewer, as to what's going on diplomatically speaking, we may not be honest with each other. So I'm just giving you a heads up that we may lie to each other, and that may come out in our videos. So yeah, just be aware, and like last time, we're just going to ask you guys to, honor our own gentleman's agreement that we're not watching each other's videos, and that you guys as well, don't tell us that, so-and-so is lying or whatnot. Or more likely than not, there'll be omissions of vital data. Nobody's probably going to lie so much as we're going to always leave that plausible deniability. But it does mean we're going to be kind of messing with each other quite a bit. But anyway, let's move on. That's also why the diplomacy aspect of this also is why I think we don't need to be power gamers so much. I mean, not that we would be good power gamers anyway, because most of us, this is like only my 4th multiplayer game. So none of us are that experienced. We're just going to skip through Pretender creation because we have no idea what anybody's playing. I mean, I know what I'm playing, but I'm not going to put that in this video yet. And like I said, because it might change. I might change it up a little bit from what I intend to do. So skipping through. Okay. Now, the game settings we will have is going to be basically the same on Llama server as what you see here, except random events are rare. I believe that's the default on Llama server, and that's what we'll be playing with. Story events will be enabled. And Hall of Fame entries, I think we will keep it to 10. Score graphs will be disabled. So again, like key screenshots, like being able to see the Akashic knowledge and stuff like that reveals score for different nations, that stuff we are forbidden to show each other. Research is fine. The next key point will be Thrones of Ascension. We will be playing a Thrones of Ascension victory. We are going to be requiring 10 points, and we will have 7 level 1 thrones. And this is going to be a little controversial with some of you, I know that. But we are going to have 7 level 1 thrones, 5 level 2 thrones, and 1 level 3. So that makes a total of 20 points, 10 points required to win the game. So, obviously, it'll be interesting if somebody gets stuck next to the level 3 throne. It's possible. I have played a few games testing out how spawning works, and in one game, indeed, it was me, actually. My faction got started next to the level 3 throne. But we all talked about it, and we all agree we kind of like the wild card that's added to the game from having a high number of level 2 thrones and the level 3 thrones. The key factor for us is we want to have a 50% victory point threshold. That way the game doesn't drag on too long, and basically once you control 40% of the landmass, usually you win the game. And having the 50% point threshold also means that it's not simply, a game of Risk where you have to, just conquer the whole land. Where you choose to put your armies, where you choose to attack, when, etc. All of that becomes a lot more important. It makes the game a little bit more dramatic, I think. So anyway, I just got a message from Dwarf Comic, actually. Anyway, let's go ahead and I'll show you what it's going to look like on the map just a little bit. And renaming will be allowed. We will solicit names from you guys to include in the game itself. And all right, so here we are. Let's go ahead and host. All right, so we'll just look at Ermor. And yeah, as you can see already, there's a throne right next to us. That will happen. A lot of us, probably 50% of us, will have a throne right next to us when we start. But like I said, chances are very low that it'll be the 3-point throne. And even if it is, there's ways to work around it. The game I played for a while where I started next to the 3-point throne against, I think, Mighty AI, I did fine. Although, of course, the obvious caveat being that I was only playing against the AI, so there you go. Now, the last thing I'll just kind of give a glance at is, of course, in our game it'll vary, but the Thrones of Ascension, this is just a kind of overview of the kinds you can get, and these will also be pretty different because I believe that the kind of throne you get spawned might be linked to the factions that are actually playing, so that's why we're seeing like a Throne of Death, Throne of Pestilence in here, is because we got some death magic. But Throne of Pantocrator, like this is the level 3 throne. It's very strong, obviously. Spreading Dominion 7, Dominion Conflict bonus +2. That's a really good throne. But whatever the level 3 throne is, whoever captures that is going to change the game quite a bit. The other interesting thing too about having so many second level thrones is, let's see if we can find one. Throne of Air, is it often has these enabling of special units that are magical oftentimes. So like, mages of autumn, spring, fall, etc. I'm sorry, autumn and fall are the same thing. But anyway, that will allow us, if we capture these thrones, to kind of broaden up our magic repertoire a bit. So that's going to be very limited to the units that we have available. But with the higher level of level 2 thrones, there will be more options for us to increase the paths of magic we have available to us. So that'll, I think, be pretty interesting as well. And yeah, here we go. Dominion gets death +1, as if we needed more of that. Throne of Gaia, growth +2, so that's good. That'll counter it. And anyway, that's just basically the overall look at the game. Like I said, this is what the map's going to look like for us, and you can see here it's a wraparound. This is the relative density of the thrones. A lot of the start locations are going to be, like here. Somebody else will probably start up here. We can actually kind of just go through that. So that's where Ermor started. Here's where Man started, also next to a throne. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at where Ulm spawned. So Ulm has no thrones next to us, and they're on the edge of the desert here. Okay, and then Agartha, also next to a throne. So we got 3 so far of us are starting next to thrones. And then Asphodel, no throne. Actually, this looks like a pretty good location, I think. Another really good location, in my opinion, is this one here. Yeah, like this one right here. I did get a game where I spawned on this location. I like it because it gives you control of this pass, and it's a little bit better than if you start on this location. Obviously, this one only has 3 connections, whereas this one has 5. So that'd be a juicy spot to get. All right, and then we have Vanheim. Yeah, look, this is the, it's like you either start here or here oftentimes. So somebody's probably going to end up in one of these 2 positions, and if they get here, that'll be awesome for them, I think. So Anyway, and then Shunayama. Not a bad one either. They've got only 3 land provinces. That's not that great, but they do have access to the ocean pretty easily if they start with an aquatic pretender, which Shunayama can indeed do. So it looks like 4 of us started next to thrones. Anyway, that's just the look at what we're going to be doing and what we're going to be starting up with. And yeah, if you have questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below. But if you have questions or comments for the other players, feel free to address them. They're all on Twitter. And like I said, just be polite. Some of us are still making up our mind what for sure. Like I said, the factions that we've picked here, we're basically, I think, probably 90 to 99% locked in with what we're doing here. But it could change when the video comes out. But if you have any kind advice for some of the newer players, or one of these factions is a faction that you have a lot of personal knowledge about, yeah, I'd say feel free to reach out to the other guys. We're really looking forward to the game, and yeah, it should be a lot of fun, and I hope it's a lot of fun for you to watch as well. All right, and as far as this video goes, thank you for watching, and we'll see you back in probably a little over a week. Bye-bye.